Are you looking for world-class health and wellness advice combined with a dose of inspiration and spiritual encouragement? You've come to the right place. This is nourishment for body and soul. This is Manna, and I'm Dr. Turner. Welcome. All right, welcome back, friends. I hope you're enjoying this interview. We've been talking with Nate Jones, the CEO and the son of the founder of the company that has brought xylitol-based nasal sprays and mouthwash to market, and has been a phenomenal and insightful intervention for me to make aware and to begin to utilize with so many different patients. I've seen benefit already, and personally I use the product every day. I'm very proud to say that, and not getting paid to do so. So I want to continue to bring this information to you. Our second part is insightful as well. You'll learn more about the federal government's efforts to suppress the free advertising and knowledge of what this product can do, and then some more details about the court case and just supplement rights more broadly as consumers. Some really vital information that we need to be aware of. So here we are. Enjoy part 2 of our guest conversation.
Because when we went to them with the data, they didn't even open the studies. They just said no. In fact, in the depositions that we had with them, what they said is, it's not on the news, so it can't be true. They didn't open the studies. They told us that. Mm-hmm. They just said, well, it wasn't on the news, so we knew it couldn't be true.
Yeah, tell us more here. So FTC, Federal Trade Commission, did they come after you, or did you come after them? How did this start?
No, they sued us.
For what exactly?
We're still trying to figure that out. What they say is that we didn't have any justification, that we didn't have any data for the claims that we were making.
Okay.
And we were making claims that it was virucidal to the SARS-CoV-2, which we had the data backing it up, and that it blocked adhesion of the SARS-CoV-2, which we have the data backing it up.
Right. Okay. And Federal Trade Commission came at you and said, you can't do this. You don't have the data.
Correct.
You gave it to them, and then they admitted they didn't even
look at it. They still sued us without looking at the data. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So even if we'd had data, it wouldn't have mattered.
Okay.
And we also, one of the other things that this just tells you how corrupt the government is, the FTC, is that we asked them and said, how long, and we asked this attorney, we said, how long have you been working for the FTC? And he said, 21 years. And we said, how many times in 21 years has the FTC sent out a warning letter, received data, and said, okay, you guys have the data? And in 21 years, this attorney could not remember a single incident where that happened. Mm-hmm. So either our FTC is incredibly intelligent, the most intelligent people in the world, hitting 100, they're batting 100 for 21 years, or it is once they go after you, they're going to sit there and go after you until they grind you into the ground.
Yeah. And where does it stand right now with the FTC?
We're in the middle of doing depositions. I'll be getting deposed next week.
Wow. Okay. So ongoing court case.
2 weeks.
Ongoing court case.
Yeah.
Specifically for the right to say what your data has shown, that it blocks adhesions of COVID, SARS-CoV-2, and is virucidal, kills it because of your 2 ingredients, the xylitol and the grapefruit seed extract.
Yes.
Trying to get that
nasal hygiene, that washing your nose could help.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, first of all, I just have to say, thank you. I take my hat off to you for hanging in the fight and doing this. You mentioned a lot of other companies had similar data, but they caved when the government, rattled the saber. They didn't stand up to it. It's costing you time, energy, a lot of money. I respect that, and I appreciate it truly, because we're trying to get that truth out there, to get that simple fact. How many American lives could have been saved if this could simply be advertised as what it truly is? It's a disgrace.
So, and I didn't say this earlier, but I think I mentioned it, but even in May of 2020, May. So we're talking 3 months into this. There was data out of Vanderbilt University that the NIH paid for. Out of Vanderbilt University, where they had 60 patients over the age of 65, all of them tested positive, all of them had symptoms, 100% of them were better in under a week, just using salt water, nothing but salt water. And the companies that provided product for that received warning letters not to share the data in
Really?
May of 2020.
Wow. And you know some of these companies, these
Oh,
execs.
I know them. Neomed,
Yeah.
Navage. You see Navage, you see their ads all over TV.
Right. Yeah. It's terrible. It's a travesty that's been perpetuated on the public here over the last few years with the COVID. Yeah.
Well, and
It's
I should
a
probably point out
disgrace.
that what they're doing earlier on, you mentioned, some vitamins and quercetin and supplements,
Yeah.
that what the FTC is really trying to do
Yeah.
is put the natural products, put those supplement companies out of business. And they put out some guidance about a year and a half ago
Mm.
where they said that any health claim, any claim, has to be supported with 2 large RCTs. Okay, that's not a law, but that's what they're going to sue you under. And so
Really?
your quercetin, if you want to say that, let's just say vitamin D, let's say vitamin C. I'm trying to think of something you would say.
Sure.
Any health claim,
Right.
I'll make it. I'll make it better. A humidifier. If you want to sell a humidifier and say, you know what, this humidifier will moisturize your ear and help you sleep better or help you breathe better, that's a health claim. You have to have 2 RCTs showing that for your product. And they will not allow other products, other similar products. They won't allow you to use the data from similar products. That's one of their arguments in our case. I mentioned there was a study that they did in India during the Delta wave with COVID with a xylitol nasal spray.
Right.
And they said, no, you can't use that because it's not your exact product.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a nasal spray with xylitol, and it was a nasal with xylitol and something that was virucidal.
Mm-hmm.
But that was one where they showed that it reduced transmission in
Right.
hospital workers in India of people treating people that had Delta COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And it showed nearly a 75% reduction in transmission.
Wow. Of Delta, right in the worst part of India when that was all going down.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. I'm making a note here.
And all of these studies, by the way, you can go to our webpage and find all of these studies. The FTC said we had to take them down. They said we had to put them on a different website. When they sued us, I said, well, screw you. I'm putting them all back on our website.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good.
So
Good. Thank you. Yes. Good. I'll make sure we have a link to your website when we're done here. Yes. Thank you. There's a time to say thanks, but no thanks. We're not going along with that.
what are they going to do? Sue me?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my word.
I
Yeah. I
mean,
mean,
I'm, and I'll say this. I don't know if this is going to throw me under the bus with a lot of people, but I probably shouldn't even say this. But I kind of have a 1% feeling of the kind of crap they're throwing on some of our political leaders.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. Speak freely. Yeah,
No,
I'm sure.
I've chatted with Peter McCullough about it, and he was most of his stuff has been resolved, but he had to go through a bunch of this too. When you stand up and try to share truth,
Right.
people making money get pissed.
Right. No, you're right. So we're nonetheless hanging strong, here in it to do what's right. It's, how do you want to put your head on the pillow every night, right? What's really important, right? You want to stand for something. You want to be respected, be a person of integrity, have a legacy for your kids, people who look up to you, your employees, etc. Right? So certain
Yeah.
battles are worth fighting. Exactly. And I'm glad you're doing it. I'm glad McCullough is, so many other people. It's
Yeah.
time. It's overdue. It's long overdue. People got to step up. Yeah.
Well, the best thing that I think is to have people that listen to this actually reach out to their congressional leaders
Okay.
at the state level and at the national level, and make sure that they know that you want to have access to the vitamins, that you want to have access to whatever supplements you want. Because if the FTC succeeds in what they're doing, they're going to price them out of so that most people can't afford them.
Mm,
I mean, you think about the cost of what it costs to do a large RCT.
sure.
And if you
Millions of
have to do
dollars.
that for each and every health claim and each and every SKU that you have, pretty soon you can't afford to go into business.
Wow. Wow. Is this proposed requirement on the part of the FTC, or is this current? Is this actually what they're
Well, so this is what the crazy part of it is that they're supposed to go through rulemaking, but what
Yeah.
they're doing is they put it out and now they're suing small companies
Hmm.
and they're trying to do it through through judicial,
Right.
so they sue a bunch of small companies that can't fight back. And
Right.
pretty soon they've got 4 or 5 court judgments saying, yeah, no, this is what it is.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
they're trying to create law that isn't in their scope.
Right. Wow. Thank you for making us aware of that. I wasn't aware. Okay, well, we've got an action item for our listeners then. Absolutely. If you value your health and wellness and access to supplements and vitamins that are known to be helpful, right? There are many
Yeah.
of them. You've heard me talk about them: NAC, quercetin, EGCG, vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, etc. These things help. You got to speak up. The so-called Federal Trade Commission and other people are trying to protect the consumer. They're not. They're trying to protect the big money interest, basically. They're acting like the enforcement arm of the mafia here, the money cartels, and the enforcement arm goes after whoever threatens the cash flow, and that's really what this is seemingly looking like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and one of the things that I totally skipped the whole section on it is,
Hmm.
we've known for almost 50 years now that using xylitol prevents tooth decay. We've
Hmm.
known that. Thousands of studies show that.
Hmm.
And the University of Michigan Dental School did a great study where they went out and gave kids 3 pieces of gum a day. One when they got to school in the morning, one when they were finished with lunch, and one before they went home.
Hmm.
And what they got out of that was the kids that got that, they didn't change their diet in or any other intervention.
Hmm.
Okay. In fact, they had to go outside the US to get this study done. But what they did see is the kids that chewed the gum had a reverse incidence of tooth decay, a negative incidence of tooth decay.
Hmm.
There are cavities that had started,
Hmm.
healed.
Whoa.
Okay. The other thing is 42% fewer respiratory infections. That costs.
Wow.
So to do that, if we did it in our schools, that's $25 a year per child, and you're reducing tooth decay to practically zero, and you're reducing respiratory infections by 42%. How does that
Wow.
make financial sense?
Right.
But yet our public health agencies won't do it.
Yeah. Well, they're not taking care of our public health,
They're
clearly.
not. They're
So,
taking
right.
care of our pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean,
Big change needed there. I didn't know anything about the xylitol gum till you brought it up in our previous discussions. Thank you for making me aware. I mean, I had no idea that it was known to be so helpful with even
yeah.
reversing cavities, as you said, breaking up the plaque and then preventing
Well,
the
so
bacteria
what
from
it
living.
really does is when you use it, and the big thing about it is the studies they did, they had
Yeah.
the kids do it for 2 years, just the days they went to school. But
Hmm.
after the 2 years was up, the University of Washington Dental School went back 8 years after the study was over. The kids that had used the xylitol gum still had over 75% fewer cavities. And the
Wow.
reason for that is because you're changing what the xylitol does is it changes the microbiome of bacteria in your mouth to bacteria that don't create acid.
Wow.
So you get a long-term protection.
Wow. Okay. Never knew this. All right. And interestingly, your company sells as well then a xylitol-based mouthwash.
Mouthwash, toothpaste, chewing gum, mints, candy,
Right. Okay.
but it's
So
under the Spry brand.
SPRY. Okay.
Yeah.
I just ordered some off Amazon the other day, not knowing that it was your same company. But when I started learning about xylitol and oral hygiene, it's like I need to be on some xylitol mouthwash. My word. And then bam,
Well, I
there it
think
was.
I think everybody should. I mean, they've done studies showing that if pregnant women choose xylitol,
Uh-huh.
their kids don't get tooth decay.
Uh-huh. Wow.
Because
Okay.
if we get rid of the bacteria in our mouth, we don't have it to give to our children.
Okay.
Okay. Baylor just published a good study like 3 years ago, in the middle of COVID, that they've been working on for nearly 10 years, where excuse me, where they actually had pregnant women chew xylitol gum, and what they saw was it reduced preterm births by 25%.
Whoa. How are they rationalizing that?
Gut microbiome,
Gut microbiome? Okay.
because xylitol is a good prebiotic for a healthy gut microbiome.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
And your gut microbiome starts in your nose and in your mouth.
As opposed to, let's say, a more harsh type of a mouthwash like a Listerine or something like that, which I don't know, is that indiscriminately killing some good bacteria as well?
Absolutely. In fact, you don't want to use one that has more than at the highest a 10% solution of alcohol in it. And if it's advertising that it kills 99.9% of germs and bacteria, you definitely don't want it, because most of the bacteria in your mouth, even if you have rampant caries, most of the bacteria in your mouth is beneficial. You have bacteria in your mouth that create the enzymes that help us break down milk and gluten.
Mm.
And if we consistently are killing them, what would you expect to see in our society?
Mm-hmm.
An increase in gluten intolerance and lactose intolerance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what we see.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
There's
Well,
some good papers out there by a Dr. Mark Cannon at Northwestern University where he talks about that.
mm-hmm. Okay. We'll have to try to pull that together for our audience. I had known that some of the healthy bacteria in the mouth get involved in producing nitric oxide, which helps dilate blood vessels.
Yeah,
Therefore, mouthwash sometimes causes people's blood pressure to go up because you've killed them.
correct.
And so this again would bypass
Yep.
that drawback. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And there's actually studies where using xylitol nasal spray improves your body's natural production of nitric oxide.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, presumably by boosting some of the healthy types of bacteria that are involved in its production. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Any final thoughts for us here, Nate? This has been very enlightening, delving into a world of oral and nasal health that I typically don't get to touch on. So this has been a wealth of information, very persuasively presented. Thank you so much. And any parting thoughts for our audience here?
No, just, hygiene is what keeps us healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Hygiene and sanitation. I mean, there's a book that I refer to a lot, but if you go back through the course of human history, let's see how many times have we had an epidemic or a pandemic that was solved with a vaccine?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the answer to that?
I guess it's under dispute. A lot of times we like to credit polio, for example, with the vaccine to stop polio, but on further review, it apparently isn't. It's some public health measures that were taken. But go ahead and tell us
No,
about that.
that's exactly correct.
Yeah, yeah.
And in fact, you can make the argument that never in the course of human history has any pharmaceutical product ended an epidemic or a pandemic. There's a
Mm-hmm.
great book that was written in 2017 that I read called Pandemic Century.
Mm-hmm.
And it went through from the Spanish flu up
Mm-hmm.
until 2017. And what he talked about was how all of these epidemics, they weren't solved with pharmaceutical. They were solved through hygiene and sanitation improvements. And if you
Mm-hmm.
go back through all the plagues we've ever had, they were
Mm-hmm.
all solved that, where it was human intervention. Sometimes it was just, we all got community defense or something. But they were all solved through hygiene and sanitation measures. And so I find it just incredibly, incredibly obtuse that
Mm-hmm.
when COVID comes around, they look at everything pharmaceutical, and the only hygiene option that they came up with was washing your watermelons and your fruits in the grocery bag outside before you bring them into your house,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and washing your hands to stop a respiratory airborne illness.
Mm-hmm. Good point. Yeah.
They just can't get the idea that washing your nose for an airborne illness, the site of infection, could possibly be helpful.
Yeah. Good point. Well, we're gonna amplify this message, and what the government won't tell the people, we're gonna try to tell the people, right? So
That
that's the point.
works.
So if you're listening out there in listener world, I know there are thousands of you. Share this, please, far and wide. Post it. Let's get this thing out there on Twitter, formerly known as X, whatever, other
Oh,
places.
it's X, formerly known as Twitter.
Exactly. Yes. Um, and getting power to the people here with this. I love this concept. I love how simple it is, how safe, how inexpensive, how accessible if we fight to keep it that way. But while it is still accessible, let's make sure the word gets out. For $14, you can go buy a bottle of this that'll last you several weeks, maybe out to a month. I mean,
Two
that's
months. It
amazing.
should last you 2 months.
2 months. It's extraordinary value. It truly is. It's extraordinary value. Thank you for what your company's done to bring this to market.
Well, thank
Nate,
you.
I mean, yeah, you took the gem and the jewel that your father had uncovered through some of his research and patient care, and you amplified it to another level, made available to all of us. And for that, we thank you. And we're gonna spread the word here and get healthy while we do it. Okay.
That works.
All right. Thanks. Well, we'll be in touch, I'm sure. Have a good
Okay.
day.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
This wraps up another edition of Manna. I enjoyed our time together, and I hope that this has inspired you towards a healthy and happy life. Be blessed.